Today, we are working on the yarn showdown between blanket yarn and acrylic yarn. Stick around because I'm about to break that all down for you right now. Hey there, I am Diana and I am a crochet cheerleader. I like to encourage people to crochet. I like to see what you're working on. If you tag me, I am on Instagram at scrappy_warriorwoman. I really like to be inspired by others as well. When I began crocheting years ago, it was only that I knew of acrylic yarn. And so that's what my experience was. And just lately, blanket yarn has really taken off. So I do have a video that I will link at the end of this video about the comparisons of different types of blanket yarn. So if you're curious about that, I also have a video that talks about acrylic yarns as well. First of all, acrylic yarn is one of the most popular yarns out there. It's made of synthetic fibers, comes in a variety of weights, from lightweight to bulky. So think Red Heart, Lion Brand, or Karen Simply Soft. Blanket yarn, on the other hand, is typically super bulky and made from polyester. It's soft and fluffy and perfect for cozy and chunky projects. Well, the most loved blanket yarn is Bernat. There we go, Bernat blanket. Acrylic yarn can vary between the weight. It may feel stiff right now in the package, but after a wash, it softens up. It's versatile and can make a variety of different projects. Blanket yarn is all about softness. It's velvet and plush, making it feel like you're crocheting with a cloud. It really does. It's so soft. However, because it's bulky, it's less suited for detailed designs. So detailed projects, you can't really get so much detail. So so because of its bulk, you can't really get too much detail like you could with acrylic. Acrylic yarn is great for beginners because it holds its shape and you can see your stitches so much easier than with blanket yarn. Yarn can be a bit trickier is that the stitches are a little bit harder to see. And also when you go to frog it, have you ever heard that term? Frog it means when you rip it out, frogs make the sound ribbit, ribbit. So you're ripping it out, so it's frogging. Sometimes that causes a little tension and can cause your yarn to break. And that's a little bit frustrating when you're crocheting. Here's a good question. How do they hold up over time? The acrylic versus blanket yarn. Acrylic yarn is really tough. It's machine washable and stands up to everyday wear and tear, which is why it's so popular for blankets and hats. Blanket yarn is also washable. I'd recommend that you wash it on a gentle cycle so it'll keep its shape and then dry it flat. Acrylic yarn is great for detailed work. Baby beanies, dolls, which are amigurumi, and granny squares. I love doing granny squares to use up your stash. Blanket yarn is perfect for chunky blankets, and I'm actually working on a blanket right now for a custom order, which is really pretty. It's also perfect for plushies and projects where softness is key. Blanket yarn works up super fast, and who doesn't want to crochet super fast? Like, my brain is always going with different ideas of what I want to make. So I have learned to love blanket yarn. I didn't really in the beginning, but I love it now because I am more familiar with it. So acrylic yarn may tend to be a little bit more affordable than blanket, especially if you're buying in bulk. But there is a trick. Buy it when it's on sale. Use a coupon. If you are wanting to crochet with something and you have time to wait, then wait till it comes on sale and then you can save money on both the yarns. If you really want to work with acrylic yarn or if you really want to work with blanket yarn, there's a way to do it in a budget-friendly way. Blanket yarn can be a bit pricier. This skein is $12.99. I'm talking US dollars. That's a lot of money, but I don't ever pay full price for my yarn. Sometimes I get it on sale at the store, and sometimes I found it really reasonable on Amazon. So like $7.50 instead of $12.99. I like that when I'm working on projects. In fact, this blanket, this green right there, I had to order off Amazon and I got it a lot less than it would be in the store. So that was pretty exciting. So because blanket yarn is bulkier, you don't need as many skeins as you would with acrylic yarn. But it can be a bit tricky to store. I just did a video about cleaning out my room and like a refresh in my office, and it shows a little snippet in there of how I do my blanket yarn. If you're curious about that, I will link that in the description below as well. One of the bonuses to using blanket yarn and you're making a pattern is that things tend to get bigger faster than if you're using acrylic yarn. So I like to use it for that. For this blanket, it would take me to get this size, it would take me hours longer if I was using it with acrylic yarn. And so I think there's a time and place for each. I do like to make, well, I have made amigurumi with the acrylic yarn as well. And that's how I learned how to make it. But I honestly prefer to make it with chenille yarn or even blanket yarn because I just like the feel of it. But I have sold both. People have enjoyed all three, acrylic, chenille, or blanket yarn. Well, it really depends on what you're making. Acrylic yarn is my go-to for versatility. Blanket yarn, when I want something soft and luxurious. My advice, keep both in your stash. Then you're covered, right? There's room for both in your crochet journey. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and talking about yarn. It's one of my favorite topics. Also crochet. It is truly fun to discover what you like, what you don't like. Let me know in the comments which yarn you prefer and what projects you love making with each of them. So if you like and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell, you're not going to miss any of my videos that are coming out. Happy crocheting! Hey there, crocheters! Blanket yarn can... Acrylic yarn is great for beginners. Blanket yarn. So if you're wanting to make something that it's soft and fluffy and perfect for those cozy, it's perfect. Oh my gosh. Both yarns have the work. On the other hand, is typically, okay, so let's start that again.